You're trying to save me, stop holding your breath. And you think I'm crazy, yeah, you think I'm crazy.
Hi my angels, it's Haley Reese and I hope that you guys are ready for today's video because this video is going to get real creepy real quick. If you guys want to hear the story of a little boy ghost, demon, entity that is extremely creepy looking, might I add, who may or may not be trying to kill somebody, then this video is the perfect video for you to be watching right this minute. Before we get into this video, of course you know I have to say, if you are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed, please go ahead, click the subscribe button. The Reese's Pieces and I believe in the unbelievable and we love to talk about it. So if you are looking for a family to join and you do enjoy my videos, we would love it if you would subscribe and join ours. So a man by the name of Adam Ellis took to Twitter on August 7th and shared a thread of tweets basically talking about this little boy named David. This little boy ghost, I shouldn't just refer to him as a little boy, this little boy ghost who he believes is trying to kill him. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the Reese's Pieces who sent this to me on Twitter because I probably would have never found it, or I wouldn't have found it as quickly as I did if it weren't for you guys. So you guys are the real MVPs. So I'm gonna read you guys this thread. It's a little bit long, but believe me, it's nothing short of chilling and captivating. And then we're going to talk about my views on it, what I think is going on, and the things that I think that he is doing and has done very, very wrong. So my apartment is currently being haunted by the ghost of a dead child and he's trying to kill me. Thread. He started appearing in my dreams, but I think he's crossed over into the real world now. The first time I saw him, I was experiencing sleep paralysis and saw a child in the green rocking chair at the foot of my bed. He had a huge misshapen head that was dented on one side. I did my best to draw it, and then he inserts this picture. So first of all, I mean, the poor thing, that is not a very pretty sight, and that is very creepy, especially to be experiencing late at night while experiencing sleep paralysis. For a while, he just stared at me, but then he got out of the chair and started shambling towards the bed. Okay, that is so creepy in itself. Like, I cannot imagine something like shambling towards the bed, especially if it looked like that. I couldn't move because I was paralyzed. I have sleep paralysis fairly often and it sucks. Right before he reached my bed, I woke up screaming. I had another dream a few nights later where I was in the library and a girl came up to me and said, "You've seen Dear David, haven't you?" I was like, "Who?" And she said, "Dear David, you saw him." She continued, "He's dead. He only appears at midnight and you can ask him 2 questions if you say Dear David first." Then she added, "But never try to ask him a 3rd question or he'll kill you." Then David came back in another dream. Same situation. I was in bed, he was sitting in the rocking chair near the window staring at me. In the dream I say, "Dear David, how did you die?" He mumbles, "An accident in a store." I say, "Dear David, what happened in the store?" He groans, "A shelf was pushed on my head." I'm frozen with fear. I ask, "Who pushed the shelf?" David doesn't answer. I realize that I've asked a 3rd question, which I'm not supposed to do. At that point, I wake up, absolutely terrified. The next couple of days I Google deaths in the city, but I can't find anything about a kid named David dying in a store. I even tried different names, Daniel, Dylan, Devin, nothing. A few weeks go by without incident. Sort of randomly, the apartment above mine is vacated, and I have the opportunity to move into it. It's a larger apartment, so I'm thrilled. Another month or 2 goes by, and I sort of forget about Dear David. I think he lost track of me because I moved upstairs. But lately, something strange is happening. For the past 4 nights, my cats gather at the front door at exactly midnight and just stare at it. Almost like something is on the other side. That's the picture right there. Last night, I got a weird feeling and I looked out the peephole and I'm dead certain I saw movement on the other side. While I opened the door and turned on the hall light, nothing was there, but my cats seemed unnerved, bushy tails, etc. And that's where I am right now. Dear David found me, I think. I don't know what to do. I'll keep you updated. So that was where he first initially ended the Dear David thread, but he has updates now because it's been about 5 days since he posted this thread. So then he says, update. For the 6th night in a row, my cat has walked over the door promptly at midnight and stared at it. So he shows a picture here where you can very obviously see a clock that's like a few minutes after midnight and a cat staring up at that door, so focused. Then he proceeds to say, okay, I took a photo through the peephole because I'm too scared to open the door. I feel like I saw something. I couldn't tell, so I mustered the courage to open the door. Nothing was out there, but I took another photo. Look at this. Then he inserts 2 photos, which I'll put up here. Is it just me, or is there something in the first photo, right where the banister meets the shelves hiding on the stairs? Then he says, I wasn't sure if it was a smudge or something, so I took a second photo from inside. There it was something out there. Then he proceeds to say, I deadbolted the lock and got into bed because I don't know what else to do. I can still hear my cat meowing at the door. So then he posts a video of his cat a few minutes before midnight. Just continuously meowing, and staring at that door. The thread continues. He goes ahead and puts like a line of salt across the door, which is to ward out evil. And it seems like he's bought the tools to smudge and sage his house. But here's where it gets like really crazy to me, is 16 hours ago he tweets this picture of himself with a Ouija board and captions it or tweets, I don't know. Also bought this, even though people are warning against it. No plans to use it, but at least I have it. So there's obviously a ton more to this thread. You guys can go ahead to his Twitter, scope it out for yourself. But I just wanted to kind of touch on exactly what was said. And now I'm going to tell you guys what I think he's experiencing and where I think he's making really, really detrimental mistakes. First of all, I really don't want to wean off of the possibility that Dear David is actually something demonic. My main reason for thinking this is because another spirit seems to have visited him in his dreams and warned him off of asking for a 3rd question. Typically, if you meet a ghost in your dreams or in your day-to-day life and you ask him questions, him or her questions, they don't have limitations. There's no rules when it comes to talking to spirits within your own home or your own environment or your own dreams. The fact that there are set rules when it comes to talking to him makes it almost in a sense sound like a game to me. It sounds like one of those paranormal games where you can summon Dear David and you can only ask a couple of questions, and as soon as your questions are up, you dare not ask the 3rd question, and that's where like the rebellious YouTubers and people will go ahead and ask that 3rd question. The thing is, from his thread, he didn't say Dear David before the 3rd question, he simply asked it. Whether or not he did or didn't actually say it in real life, I don't know, but going by the thread, it appears that he may have not actually asked the 3rd question because she said he'll only answer your question and it will only be like a valid question if you say Dear David before it. Which in my opinion is another thing that leads me back to believing that it kind of has signs of a paranormal game. Now clearly he was not playing a paranormal game. Clearly, he just had this experience in his own home in his own time. I don't feel like it's a ghost that died in the area, and I think that's a big reason why when he started to search, it turned up no results. Because the fact that another spirit visited him in a dream and said, so you've met Dear David, to me it sounds like he's somebody that people can meet, not just targeted towards him or not just somebody who perhaps lived in that apartment complex, or I think he said it was a duplex before and passed away and is now haunting him. So that's my view on that, and I would advise him to be very, very careful when it comes to his communications with this thing. With that being said, and going off of that note, which I could be very wrong off of, but going off of that note, he needs to be so careful as to how he goes about making these posts and continuing this thread, because if he comes across as taunting something that is, you know, demonic or negative, or even just has like a hidden agenda, which to me it kind of sounds like he does, this spirit does have some sort of a creepy hidden agenda, he needs to be super careful that he's not taunting it. Now let me clear up what I mean by taunting it. He's putting the salt at the door, he's saging and smudging his house, and he has now a Ouija board, which is just ridiculous. But if he is not properly conducting these things, all that he's doing is taunting this demon. He's not really preventing it from coming past that door. And to be entirely honest with you, that door is not stopping him. If he's convinced that there's an evil ghost on the other side of the door and that it like wants to come in the door, ghosts don't need doors to pass through things. They really don't. There are portals, there are vortexes, and they just have the ability to go through walls. I mean, they're ghosts. So he doesn't need permission for you to open up the door and be like, hey David, come on in. No, if he wants to come in, he's gonna come in like he has in the past in your previous apartment. The interesting thing though is the cat's seeing it. So it's very possible that this is like Dear David's way of taunting him back, of messing with him, or like to frighten him. I don't doubt for a minute that his cats are seeing something. Animals are so receptive to the spirit world, animals and children. So when your animals start staring at the wall at a certain time of night every single night, or meowing or barking or things like that, you should really trust their signs and their symptoms and be like, maybe there's something there. The fact that his cats are doing this is what inclined me to make a video about this, because it adds authenticity to his story. You know, anybody can go on the internet and say, this ghost visited me last night and I think it's trying to kill me, but unless you have like super trained cats who want to meow and stare at the wall and really focus in on that door frame every single night at 12 o'clock for your videos, chances are they really are seeing something. A very big no-no in the spirit world is going against any sort of rules. Like the fact that she went to him and said, do not ask a third question, and he accidentally did it, is a pretty dangerous thing. Not even because they're like, oh, he broke a rule, but because they're like, does he not believe that I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do? Does he think that I'm like messing with him and that I'm not really gonna do it? And then sometimes they wind up lashing out. Now, I just watched a really interesting documentary on somebody who had a haunted house here in Canada, and she told a very similar story. However, hers had like a bit of a twist. And I'm gonna talk about this quickly for the sense that people could just say, oh, it was a dream, it was just his sleep paralysis. He admitted to his sleep paralysis, but I don't believe that that was the cause of the Dear David situation. So this woman had a whole lot of shenanigans going on. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I can't touch on all of it, but she woke up one night in like a dream state, very similar to what he has described, and there was a little boy at the end of her bed. And she said this little boy had a very sinister, creepy smile on his face, and she felt like she was gonna be attacked. All of a sudden, this little boy charges at her and bites her arm, and she wakes up screaming. She kind of plays it off as that was just a dream, whatever, and goes back to sleep. The next day when she wakes up, she had literal, and she had pictures of it in this documentary, she had teeth marks of a child in her arm in a way that she could not physically have bit herself, and the teeth were far too small to have been her husband's, which was the only other person in the room. My reason for bringing this story up in correlation to the Dear David story is because people will always try to downplay, it was just a dream, it was just a dream. But there are situations in life where people have, in fact, fallen asleep, had similar dreams to what he's experienced with Dear David, and woken up with physical marks on their body that correlate with what they experienced. Going back to the whole taunting thing, the fact that he has bought a Ouija board just blows my mind. The fact that he states people are advising against it, and then the fact that he's like, but at least I have it, kind of throws me off, because at least you have it for what? To provoke whatever it is that's being welcomed into your reality, or that is becoming a part of your reality. I think that's a very detrimental move on his part, because I think that that's asking for a whole lot more. I don't know if I've touched on this previously on my channel, I'm sure that I have, but we are in control of our own reality and what we believe we project. That I have touched on. And if you don't want a spirit or an entity or something in your space, you command it out in the name of light and love, in the name of whatever you believe in, be it a religion or be it just light and love. You command that out of your space. You get it out of your reality. You picture the white light, you get it gone, and you do not pay it any more mind. The more mind you pay to a demon, an entity, a ghost, the more that you're welcoming them into the reality and the stronger you let them become, which can be a very beautiful thing. You know, if you have a ghost like my woman in white, or you have a guardian angel like my grandpa, you know, the more you engage with them, the more they protect you, the more they're there for you, the more they give you messages. But on the contrary, the more that you pay attention to them and you give in to them and you're constantly like provoking it, so to speak, the more that you're welcoming it into your reality, and he may not want to be doing that. Well, you guys, that is all that I have to say on this Dear David shenanigans. I want to know what you guys think of this story. Does it freak you out? I mean, obviously it's a very freaky story. Do you believe it? What do you think? Do you think that he is making detrimental mistakes by bringing Ouija boards into the house? Let me know. Talk amongst each other. Be kind to one another. And I can't wait to read what you guys think, because this whole situation kind of has the internet in a storm, and it kind of has me like, what is happening? Who is Dear David, and what has this guy done? If you guys enjoyed today's video and you want to see more from me, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I post a ton of videos you don't want to miss when I upload, and please give this video a big thumbs up. It makes my heart super happy when you do that, so please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, love you!